Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Well guys, yesterday was Saturday, October 21st, and we had a little work day out here at the shop, and I wanted to give everybody an update and kind of tell you a little bit about what all went on. And unfortunately, I didn't shoot a whole lot of video. I did get one little clip of us working on the machines, but as it seems like happens all the time, I just get busy when I have a lot of people around, and the cameras just don't seem to get out like I envision happening. I get busy and I just forget about it. But anyway, we had a great day. I ended up having 4 people come in and help, which turned out to be a really good number to have. I had a few folks that had told me they were coming, and then the kind of last minute things happened and they had to back out on me. It wasn't a big deal. So with the 4 that showed up plus myself, we really had a good sized crew for what I was wanting to get done. And quite honestly, if we'd had too many more people, we probably would have been in each other's way. But it really worked out well. What I did, main focus of the day was working on the 2 big drill presses, the Carlton Radial Arm Drill and the Cincinnati Bickford drill press. I wanted to get those things stripped down, cleaned, and more or less prepped for painting. And that's exactly what we did. That was the focus. I took both those machines, we rolled them out on the patio kind of out here in front. I got a little poured concrete slab just right outside the front door. And we rolled them outside just to kind of keep the dust and grime and everything down inside the shop. And between wire wheels on angle grinders and a needle scaler that I had, air power needle scaler, we were able to get in there and really get those machines cleaned up. It was near about an all-day job. Well, we probably spent 3/4 of the day working on those machines, just doing that. But good news is that as of right now, both of them are about 90% completely done. There's still a little bit needs to be done on both machines, nothing major, but I'm ready to go ahead and get started on painting on these pretty quick. Also had got some other work done in here, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. First off, I want to acknowledge the ones that came. So Forbes Matthews out of Gay, Georgia. Tom Kitchens came up from Jacksonville, Florida. Luke Bucks came in from Columbus, Georgia, and Patrick Carr drove down from Atlanta. So we had some folks that traveled several hours to get here, and I really appreciate it. Everybody got here probably between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, and we got going. So let's go look at the 2 drill presses and see what they look like. So first we have the big Carlton drill press, radial arm drill, and this thing here was pretty darn nasty, and we were able to get in here, and as you can see, pretty much all the paint's gone. There's a couple little areas and some hard to reach places that we've still got to get in here and do. But we took the table back here off to get down to the bare casting. This casting down here, all these T-slots were just full of chips and grime and grease and gunk, and the guys got all that cleaned out. Shop vac came to the rescue there. They had to literally get down there with some chisels and chisel the stuff out to get it loosened up, but we got all that cleaned out. The head on this thing, one thing I was a little bit worried about on this machine was that this head was stuck. I couldn't get it to go. Well, I could get it to, but it just took an awful lot of pressure. And I had a suspicion, and I think I was correct. Someone previously had painted this machine, and they painted these surfaces here, and these are actually way surfaces, and it was just so stiff, so tight that it wouldn't do. So we were able to kind of get it cleaned up, and using some force, we were able to get this thing down to one end and down to the other end and got it cleaned up, got everything behind it cleaned up. And now you can see this thing just moves effortlessly, which is the way it should be. So I was tickled to get that done as well. I've kind of got a bunch of stuff taken off the front of this right now in preparation for painting. But all in all, this machine is pretty much ready to start slapping some paint on it. I will comment too, we checked out the motor that raises and lowers the column here. Forbes is a pretty good electrician, and he came in here and checked that motor out, and unfortunately there's a dead short in that motor, so I'm going to have to take that motor off, get it up to the motor shop, and see what can be done. I suspect, Forbes suspects that we'll probably either have to replace the motor or have the motor rewound, and I'm going to have to just get in there and see what we can do. I'll take it to the motor shop and see what we can do. It's kind of a unique motor, so replacing it may not really be an option. We may have to get it rewound. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. Didn't really run into any major problems on this machine. She looks pretty solid, so anyway, I think we're good to go. Let's go take a look at the other one. So the second machine we worked on was this Cincinnati Bickford drill press, and it too, we got it all cleaned up. This is down to the bare metal, so this one here is also pretty much ready to paint. Now, as we were working on this one, I had noticed previously that there's been a weld job done up inside this casting up here, and I suspected that this thing may have fallen over at some time, also because this control mechanism was just all messed up. I was able to get a replacement for that. One of my viewers has one of these machines that he's scrapping out, and we were able to get a new part to go up here, so that fixes that part. It had been welded and it really wasn't right, but there is some welding inside of there. We also, once we started stripping paint off, noticed that there's a weld over here on the main column. Now it doesn't go all the way through, but it looks like it may have cracked right here or something. But it was welded back together right here. It's not broken on the other side, and it's not broken all the way through. I'm just thinking there may have been a crack here and they welded it back up. So anyway, I think this machine probably flopped over, like I said, at some point in time. Good news is that I have ran the motor on this and everything appears to be working fine. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that we don't run into any problems with this machine down the road. But again, this one's ready to put paint on, and I need to get all my motor starter and all that hooked back up, and this one here should be ready to go pretty quick and easy. One other little problem we found was this little casting right here is cracked back here in the back. This is just kind of almost a decorative piece. It just holds a little badge. I'm going to contact the fella that has the other machine and see if I can just get a replacement part for this, see if he's got that piece, and if so, we'll change it. If not, it's not broken completely off, it's just cracked, so I can always braze it back up and even probably just leave it like it is. Wouldn't hurt anything. There's nothing on there that's really doing anything. So anyway, this machine's also cleaned up and ready to go. Well, in addition to working on the machines, getting these things prepped for cleaning, I also took advantage of having some free labor here, and we did a major rearranging of the shop. You know, shop organization and all that is one of those things that you kind of have in your mind, or at least I kind of had in my mind how I wanted to put things in here. But as I started getting machines, I started acquiring new machines, and well, at some point I said, you know what? My layout of the shop has got to change. I got to rearrange things to utilize better my space in here. And over in this part of the shop was one area that was the case. So previously I had the big metal planer back here kind of going straight in and out back here in the back. And I turned that kind of 90 degrees, tucked it in over here. It's got room to travel. The bed's got room to travel the full length. And whenever I get that machine restored and operational, I think that's where I want it to sit. And kind of on this side of it, I put the big radial drill. Again, it's kind of oriented in the same direction as the planer to better utilize space. And this is kind of right here in the main aisle of the shop, so that when I'm working on, usually on this machine you would be doing something pretty big and heavy. I can get in here with an engine hoist or gantry crane down the road, whatever, and be able to get stuff up on this for working. So anyway, reposition these two machines, and really I haven't lost that much floor space compared to what I was taking up with the metal planer and some other stuff that I kind of had right in the same area. So basically, you know, in all reality, I've kind of got two machines taking up the same footprint that one was taking up before. Which I had a table or something in there that I moved, but you know, no big deal. So anyway, much better space over here. And on the other side of the shop, we did a major rearrangement, and I'll show you that as well. So this side of the shop doesn't even really look the same at all. Major rearrangement, like I said. First thing I did was we took the big 21-inch Monarch and basically I did a 180 on it. We turned it 180 degrees. This machine weighs about 11,000 pounds, so this was no easy feat. And I took advantage again. Forbes Matthews came in, and I knew he had some machinery skates, which you can put under these machines, or little rollers for rolling things around. And I had him bring them just to move this machine. And we put those skates up underneath the bottom of this thing, and we were able to move it around. I shouldn't say really easily, but it wasn't without too much trouble. Basically, we had all hands on deck kind of pushing it around. But on those skates, it moves around fairly easily. But you know, we did a 180 on that, so the front of the lathe is now kind of out, and then this open aisle, again, I can get in here, bring in heavy something, and it's going to be easier for me to load and unload this machine from this aisle that I've got through the middle of the shop. And along with that, I took the 16-inch Monarch and basically turned it 180 degrees, and it's kind of sitting right behind the big Monarch. I got both of my lathes here together, and because they're kind of back to back, I'm really taking up a lot less space than what I had with them individually out here. And I've still got room that I can get in between these machines for maintenance, if I need to get on the back side to do whatever. You know, I don't have a whole lot of room in here, but I don't really need a whole lot of room in here. But this is going to be nice having these two machines back to back. And I'm kind of envisioning maybe putting a little jib crane off of this post that kind of goes over both of these lathes, not for major heavy duty lifting, but you know, to move chucks and stuff, kind of like this little jib crane I got mounted on the lathe now, but something that's a little bit bigger that I could load a part with, you know, a moderately sized part, and as well as handle chucks and taking them on and off. So anyway, that's something to think about down the road. So next thing we did was we took the two milling machines that were previously kind of over in front of this post right here. I had the big Monarch lathe kind of on this side of the post, and I had my two mills on the other side. And I've moved those back over here up against this back wall. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do that is well, number one, I think it's better utilizing my space, but it also still allows me to have some wall space back here to put some toolboxes. There's my 50 taper tooling and all that. So it really kind of gives me that wall space as well as room for my milling machines. And I've got a little aisle in between here and the Monarch lathe. Now, one thing that in retrospect I think I'm going to actually tweak on this is, you know, I've got an aisle that I can walk through here, but it's a little bit narrow for my liking. So, and it's not off by much, it's just a little bit. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to move these two lathes again just a little bit, kind of push them out that way. Probably only 6 inches, 6 or 8 inches. I think if I can get that little bit of extra room in here, it's going to be all the room I need to really have the room that I need to get through here. It's doable now, but I just think I want a little more elbow room in here. So I won't have the machinery skates, but I can get a pallet jack up underneath that big lathe and just move it that far, no big deal. 2 pallet jacks. Twisting it and turning it was a little bit much for the pallet jacks, but I can easily move it with that much. And same thing with this machine, it's going to be fairly easy to just bump back a little bit. So in retrospect, I wish that I had paid a little bit closer attention to that, but easy fix. I don't think it would be a major problem at all. What I really like about this new rearrangement that I've done here is I've kind of compacted my machine shop area over here. Yes, it's a little tight around the machines, but I've opened up a lot of floor space in here, particularly in the front part of the shop. It was starting to get kind of crowded with my milling machines over here, but this is an area where I can bring stuff in and work on it, and I have floor space to get around it, what have you. I also got a scraping class coming up, and we need to put another table in here to work on. I've got one in the back that I'll move up front, but I really like this open area that I've got here. I've still got a clear aisle that goes completely through the shop. This is as wide as the doors are back there, so this, again, no problem for me to get through here. You know, it's tight, but I can still drive my truck all the way through the shop if I need to, even with these machines here. So I really like the fact that this kind of opened up and gave me some elbow room out here to just work on stuff. So anyway, I'm pretty excited about that. Another thing that this kind of allowed me to do is it opened up an area right here, and I've actually got a big tool cabinet coming. It's going to be here in a couple of weeks that I purchased from a friend of mine, a viewer of mine, but it's kind of a Lista type cabinet with all the drawers on it, and it's destined to go right here. And again, I need to kind of clean out some space for toolboxes. Once I get that big Lista cabinet in here, one of my projects down the road, I'm really not looking forward to it, is I'm going to basically go through all of my toolboxes, and I'm going to do a total reorganization. Right now, I've kind of got stuff scattered, it's not organized. Anyway, I'm going to just do a complete reorganization. I'll probably throw a lot of just junk out, because there's a bunch of just junk in these cabinets that's accumulated over the years, but also just get things organized. And I'll have more cabinet space here that some of that stuff will go into. Some of the stuff will be in here will be tooling and things such as that. But that's kind of my plan, is to get that cabinet in right behind me. And again, this opened up some wall space where I could move some cabinets around. This cabinet is probably either going to go totally. It's just a cheap, low quality cabinet. Some of the drawers don't work that great on it. It may end up in the wood shop side of the shop. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it, but I would like to kind of get the big Lista cabinet and then get down to my other two toolboxes, and then let this, at least that bottom box, go live someplace else. I'll probably keep it, but it's probably not going to stay here. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at there. Another thing that we got accomplished this weekend that I'm real proud of, again, Forbes Matthews was here. He's pretty accomplished electrician, at least control type stuff, and this machine here was a little bit of a basket case for me from the electronic standpoint. Well, first off, I thought I had a problem with my motor, and as it turned out, the motor was fine, which was good. My problem that I had was more with my control starter switches and all that. It was a nightmare in there, electronically speaking. Forbes went through it, got everything rewired, got the forward and reverse starter running and back wired up properly. And we found out that there's a problem with the control transformer in that starter. I'm going to have to replace that. I've already got another control transform ordered. Should be in here later this week, and once that's done, we'll be able to have this machine where it's running. Like I said, we put the motor back in, we got the belts reinstalled. So once I could swap out that transformer, this machine should be ready to plug in and operate. Keep your fingers crossed. So anyway, thank you, Forbes, for your electronics help or electrical help on that. I'm not certain, well, I'm not going to say I couldn't have figured it out, but it would have taken me an awful lot of work. I'm not real good when it comes to control wiring and stuff like that. I know enough to be dangerous. I can figure out the easy stuff, but we had some pretty crazy things going on in there, and Forbes was able to troubleshoot it and get it going. And I'll also mention Tom Kitchens contributed to that as well. Tom did a lot of electrical work in the Navy, and he offered some tips and help. In fact, Forbes was, Tom kind of showed him a few little tricks on getting some screws started in there where he's having some trouble, and I think Forbes appreciated that as well. So anyway, this Monarch lathe is a little bit closer to being able to start using. Well, guys, that's kind of a breakdown of what all we got accomplished yesterday during our work weekend. And again, I appreciate Forbes Matthews, Tom Kitchens, Luke Bucks, and Patrick Carr for all coming down and giving me a hand. We got an awful lot accomplished. I could not have come anywhere close to doing the amount of work that we got done in one day. It had probably taken me by myself, it probably would have taken more than 5 days to do what the 5 of us were able to do in one day. I know we were all wore out and exhausted. When the last ones left here, probably about 4:30 yesterday afternoon, 5 o'clock or so, I know that once I went in the house and took a shower, I was ready to crash. It was a long day. But again, lots accomplished, and thank you to everybody that came out. I know several guys were planning on coming, things got in their way. No sweat, guys, don't worry about it. And I'm going to probably be doing some more of these work weekends over the next, particularly during the winter. We've got some carpentry work that I need to get done kind of on the back side of the shop. My plan is that once it cools off a little bit during the winter time, we're going to get in here and try to get the rest of the ceiling done in the back of the shop, get walls put up and all that. So, you know, I don't have any plans right now as to when that might happen. Again, I got a scraping class, another scraping class coming up here in a week or two, and I got to get past that. Once I get past that, I'm going to go ahead and get my material ordered, and start staining wood and all that, and hopefully sometime, you know, December, January, February time frame, maybe we can have a few more work days and try to get some more of the shop ready. And I really am excited about getting the back side of the shop where I can get in there and start utilizing that space. I want to get my woodworking shop back there. I've pretty much got the machines and tools and everything to fill that shop out from where I used to have my old shop before you guys started seeing me on YouTube. So most of that stuff's been in storage now for 6 or 7 years, and I'm really wanting to get it all put in there where we can start doing some wood projects out here as well. So anyway, hopefully this summer or winter we'll get on that and have a few more work days. So with that, that'll be a wrap. Again, thanks for everybody that came out. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time around.